Hello friends, you're with a Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing Genesis. Still in turn 1, 1700 to 1650 BC. And we've just seen the first two activations of Babylon and Egypt, and I already screwed up. I made a pretty big mistake actually. And that was the loss in after battle. So the way I played it until now was, if you take loss, you take the percentage loss, but you calculate the percentage losses from your opponent's force. So let's say your opponent attacks you with 10 units and you take a percentage loss of 5, then you would lose 5 units no matter how many units you actually have. But that's not correct. Actually, you take your strength of force as a reference point. So let's say you got 8 units, your opponent has 10, you take 50% losses, you don't lose 5, but only 4 units. And that makes a big difference also in attacking these smaller cities, because now it becomes actually much harder to attack weaker forces. I think that's really a rule that favors the weaker forces, because even to destroy a city with, I don't know, let's say you want to destroy a city with 3 units, you actually need to do 90% damage to completely destroy it. Before, let's say you had an army of 10 units, you attacked that city, 30% would have been fine to destroy the city if I followed my rule. But of course that's not true. Well, luckily a viewer has pointed this out pretty much at the beginning. I only have fought a few battles, so I think it's not too important. Sippard hit, they fell, Gaza, Jerusalem. So I think I want to compensate a little bit here. So I think I might actually remove maybe 2 units here from the Egyptian player, and also 2 units from the Babylonian player. I mean, that's just, I don't know if that's a realistic thing, but it might have changed things a bit that way. Okay, fine. So now we come to the Mitanni player, and the Mitanni player pays $1, and then he does his activation. Draws a card, and we have here the Joshua effect. The player receives 2 battle die roll shifts in his attack if a city is used in the defense. The card must be played prior to the battle die roll. Okay. So now we have to make an important decision. We could try to go for Carchemish here, which is heavily fortified. It has a defense value of 4, and we have to compete there with Libarna. So he has 14 units here. That's definitely going to be a big threat. I also could move down here. It's probably too far. Mari is probably too far, but I could move here to Kadesh. Qatna, Kadesh, maybe Byblos, try to grab these cities. Maybe that makes more sense, but it's hard to tell right now. So I think what I'm going to do first is, I'm going to check for my movement points. If I don't roll, well, at least 1, 2, picking this guy up is then 3, 4, 5. I think I need at least 5 or 6 movement points to have a chance to take Carchemish. I mean, to do an attack, I need at least 5 movement points. So I need to roll a 3 because of my, well, kind of low campaign rating. Let's see what we have here. Now that's a 5. That's pretty awesome. These are 7 movement points. That should be enough to take Carchemish. Now let's move down here. We grab these guys. So it's 1, 2. Picking up units costs a single point, but you can pick up as many units as you want from a single space with a single point. So that's 3, 4, and now the Hittite player will try to bribe me. He really wants to go for Carchemish, which would then also open him a road to Ugarit. So that would be extremely valuable for him. Therefore, he's actually willing to bid He's willing to bid $7 here. Well, honestly, I think I don't want to do it. I don't want to take that gift. It's hard to tell. I mean, we will definitely lose a few units here. I don't know. Hard to say. I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to grab Carchemish. So, let's see. We got, how much unit? 5, 10, 12 units. That's quite a bit. And we're fighting a city with a defense of 4. So it's 12 versus 4, so we got 3 shifts. And 2 additional shifts for Kirta. So that gives us 5 shifts. Let's see what we roll here. The black player is the attacker, the white player is the defender again. So that is very good. What we can do now is, by the way, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 points left here. So what we do is, we're going to reduce our losses to 0. So this time, we would take 20% of 14. And, well, I want to avoid this, so I will reduce this to 0. And then we can bring this up to 8, right? So we can do 80% damage of a 4 defense strength. So how much is that? That's only 3. Okay. But, well, I got 2 movement points left. So I can go for a second attack here. So I gotta move back now. I gotta regroup. Basically, I go back to Haran and I will regroup there. And the city walls are not completely down. They're only at 1 here. And then we got to spend our last 2 points. And I move into Karkemish again and do another attack. And again we have, no, this time we definitely have more shifts, because the defenses are down to 1. So we still got 12 versus 1. So we got 12 shifts this time. Yeah, that's definitely not going to be a problem. I don't have to roll here, I guess. But we have to roll twice for the leader loss. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that was close, but that's also fine. Okay, so in the end we managed to take Karkemish without any losses, but it took us 2 runs this time. So it's getting harder to capture this city. These cities, at least if you want to do it fast, right? So we need a 0 wall here. Now this allows us to grab 2 gold. I'm not the biggest fan of these little gold markers, actually. I don't know. Feels a little too fiddly, but okay. So 2 gold for Mitanni here. And then we have also some minor actions, basically 2 minor actions, and I won't do anything, but I'm going to recruit 2 units. So I'm going to pay $2, and I can recruit up to 2 units in a in a city that doesn't belong to my homeland, so in a conquered city. So that means I pay $2 here and place 2 new units in Karkemish. Okay, cool. So I guess that was pretty good for the Mitanni player, and pretty bad for the Hittites here. So now it's the Assyrian player, and we're going to see what happens. So we have here Shamshi Adat the First. I think that's his name. It's hard to read there. And he has 8 movement points because of his high campaign rating. Yeah, that's not a question. I mean, I definitely don't want to attack Nisibis here. For now it makes more sense to live in peace with the Mitanni. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down here, try to grab Samara, maybe a Shuna. Let's see. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5 to attack. So that brings us already down to 3 points. Now let's see. We got a defense of 2. We got 10 units. So we got 5 shifts plus 3 shifts for Shamshi-Adad. I cannot remember that name. I probably will never. So that's then 8 shifts. That's a lot. Okay, that's not so great. So the defender has a 4, the attacker has a 2. Now, how much damage do we have to do to destroy the city walls, Samara? It's a 2 city, so we need to do 80% damage to destroy the city. Therefore, we have to do 6 shifts, and we can only do 2 shifts with the enemy die roll. So therefore, we lose 20%. 20% of 10 is obviously 2. So we end up with 8 units. Let's take... damn it. Shit. Okay. So... okay. I wanted to leave one back at Samara. So... there we go. Okay. Now we leave one here. The walls of Samara are down to 0, of course. We can grab one silver here. And now we can move on. And, well, I think we will see a small bribe from the Babylonians, a token of goodwill, so that we don't take Kur-Gurigalzu. And we're going to see 2 bucks here going from Babylon to Assyria. And then the Assyrians will move on here to Eshnunna. Attack that. That costs them 2 more movement points. Now Eshnunna also has a defense of 2. They only have 7 left. So it's not too impressive anymore now. 3 shifts plus 3 shifts, it's 6, should be good enough. So, let's roll. Okay, now that's a 5 for the attacker, a 4 for the defender. So again, we have to do, how much damage was it? 80% or something? Yeah, to destroy the city. Okay. So that means we go up here, 3 shifts on our roll, 3 shifts are remaining, so we take a 10% damage and they take 80% damage. And with 7 units, 10% is only 1 loss. That wasn't too bad. And Eshnunna is now also has also fallen. That gives us a buck. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay, then we're gonna hire 4 units. And I just realized I've forgotten to pay my card, to pay for at the beginning of the turn for the Assyrians, and also to draw a card. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to pay a buck, draw a card. Amun-Ra, this card cancels any card played by another player. The player cannot use this card to cancel his own card play. The player must play this card before any use of the card to be cancelled takes place. Both cards are discarded. That's always useful. Okay, and then I can do a minor or 2 minor actions. I'm thinking about moving possibly these guys here, or at least one of them. I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to leave one here, two here in Samara. I'm going to move one here. I don't have to roll for that because you will always roll a 1, obviously. So that was my first minor action. And I'm also thinking about bringing possibly one guy from Nineveh a little more down here. So 4 are remaining here. And then we roll a die for the other one, see how far he can go. 5 points, that's pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he managed to get here. Pretty cool. Okay, now that's the end of the Assyrian turn. And finally, the last activation marker here on this player order table or chart is the Hittite player. So this time they're going to pay and they're going to draw a card. That's Enlil, the king of the Mesopotamian gods. The player may give any force that occupies an undestroyed Assyria home kingdom city a free major move. This card cannot be played during an action. Okay. So, we now have a decision to make. We have here 10, 12, 14 units. And then we have 2, 4, 7, 12 units. Wow. Our leader is a little better. It has a tactical rating of 3, Labarna, while Kirta is down at 2. So it's the question now, do we want to try to get there? I mean, we might also lose units here at Urzu, although, well, they only have a defense value of 1, so that won't be that bad. But I'm afraid that might be a real bloody battle. But on the other hand, I really want to get Carchemish. You know, that is something which is critical for the whole future of the game. Carchemish will open me the way to Ugarit, to these rich cities in the Levante, and then I can still later during the game grab Asia Minor. But in Asia Minor there are not many rich cities. Troy and down here Tarsus, and that's basically it. And well, then these 2 cities here of the Atsava, Milavata and Apasha, but still it's not it's not that tempting. So I'm actually thinking about attacking the Mitanni player. Well, but I'm not sure. Okay, now here's the thing. I mean, this is such an important point. I really think I want to go for it. So, the Mitanni player is offering me $8 if I don't go for it. I'm going to roll. If I roll a 6, I take the bribe. Otherwise, I will attack. Okay, definitely not. So we're going to see now an attack. First, I'm going to roll a die to see how many movement points I got. Oh, that sucks. Well, that might change things a little bit. That brings us down to 5 movement points. That's not much. We also have to take Urzu before we can start attacking Carchemish. So therefore, oh boy, that's really tough now. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we might try it. I'm gonna try it. It's 14. Is that so? 14 versus 9. What? 14 versus 14. Wow. That's dangerous. I can't play Raise the Militia. That would give me one additional infantry unit because I got peasants there. Wow, that's a pretty high risk. Still, I gotta take that. I think it might be worth it. Whew. Yeah. So first I'm going to move in here. Takes 2 spaces to get there. 2 movement points to get there. Now it's 14 versus 1. Pretty sure that's... I think that gives me 14 shifts, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, forget it. We don't have to roll here. So that city is gone. And, well, let's see. And then we're going to move on. And I will leave my peasants here. Maybe only one of them, and the other one I'm going to take with me. And this way I can control the city of Ursu, but I can still rebuild the walls of Carchemish if I manage to grab it. And I also can hire soldiers at Ursu because you got to control the city if you want to recruit forces there. So now let's do the attack. So everybody has exactly 14 units, so that means obviously no shifts here, but 1 shift in favor of the Hittites because they got the better leader with a tactical rating of 3. Okay, wow. Let's see what we get. Oh wow, that was massive. So the attacker does a 60% damage, the defender only a 10% damage. Now just wait a minute, we started here. We had 5 movement points, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. So we only have 1 movement point left. That's not going to be enough to destroy them completely. But we're going to do 70% damage to them. And I take 10% damage. Now let's see what that is. 14 units. I only take 1 damage. Now, the other guys, they could now retreat. I'm not sure if they want to do that though. I think they don't. Maybe if they're really lucky, they can take these forces and bring them also here. But, yeah, just these 5 guys from here. Bring them with a major move also here to Carchemish. But that depends now who's next, you know, and it's all completely random now that these activation markers here on the board are gone. We have no idea who goes next. So that was a real horrible result for the Mitanni player. He takes 70% losses. That means he loses 10 units. Holy shit. Oh boy. That doesn't make a lot of sense to stay there. I think. Fuck. Okay, so my decision is actually to retreat here. And I can only retreat if I'm not in a fortified city, but because the city is, the walls were destroyed, I can now retreat, and that means I lose 10% less, and I can retreat 1 or 2 spaces. Now the attacker, if he wins the battle, he can actually force me to retreat by spending an additional movement point, and then as I said, that would force me to retreat, but that's only possible if I'm not inside a fortified city. So I lose now 60%, which is still bad enough, but that's only 8 units. That's definitely better than 10. But it's extremely painful. I was horribly unlucky here. I mean, obviously, you cannot be more unlucky than rolling a 6 and a 1. So I move back to Haran. Obviously, it has to be a city under my control where I retreat. I cannot retreat to Ima, for example. That's not allowed. So I'm now at Haran. And yeah, that was a pretty bad move for Kirta here. So again, Karkemish can be plundered by the Hittites, which gives them $2. In addition, they have now a few actions left, 2 minor actions. So they can now rebuild the walls. I think it needs only a single peasant, rebuild city defense to do this. So they can rebuild with a single minor action. They can rebuild as many defense points as they want. The maximum is the defense number of the city plus 1. So this is usually a 4 defense strength city here. They can now build up to 5 defense points around that city with enforced walls in this case. Each defense points costs 2. So, not sure. I think they're gonna spend, well, maybe $6 here. That allows them to place a 3 marker in the city. Or do we have that? I've seen something here. Here it is. No, that's a 4 and a 5. Damn it. Here we go. 2 and 3. So now Karkemish has actually a defense value of 3. In addition, I'm going to hire 2 units there. There we go. So now this city is actually pretty safe from attacking forces of Mitanni. And that was now a critical point in the game, I think. This battle could have changed the game now massively, simply because this big force can now move down here and maybe they can come to an agreement with Mitanni, so that Mitanni will grab now here these Canaan cities here, leave Ugarit to these guys. I think that makes sense now, and Mitanni can be happy to do this. Yeah. Well, okay. So, I think we've seen some interesting battles, and we're done with the first activation markers. Each empire has used one activation marker, so from now on it's all random. But I'm gonna load this up now, and I also think I'm not gonna go that much into detail from now on. Okay, hope to see you on my next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.